we'll start with the defense. How's Hutchinson? And what's the latest on McNeil and the rest of the defenders? Because as you talk, I'm going to pop up the depth chart, and all the players in the Arled's depth chart in red, those are the players that are dealing with some sort of an ailment.
Yeah, so Hutchinson's fantastic. He looks, I don't want to say better than before, but that you would never be able to tell that he's injured. He actually alluded to it today. They did their joint practice with the Texans today. And he talked about afterwards how he got leg whipped in practice a few weeks ago. And he sort of looked at his leg and he's like, you know what? There's a steel rod in there. I think I'm good. And ever since then, he's just been like tearing it up. He looks phenomenal. He's ready to get back to. He was going to be the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year last year when he got hurt. He is on a mission to last all 17 games. They play 17 now. And get that. So he's good. McNeil is going to be a while. He probably won't be back before around Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
That's the general prognosis for him. He seems to be doing fine. We haven't actually been able to talk to Aleem yet, but everything seems to be progressing okay. But he tore his ACL in late December, so his timeline's back. They're not going to rush him. They do have some appreciable depth with Hadley Williams coming in. I'm sure we'll talk about him. Malcolm Rodriguez is going to be out for a bit. He's not going to start the season on the active roster. Josh Paschal, actually, Dan Campbell gave us an update today. He has pushed the timeline back from September into later September, maybe October. So it sounds like he's going to start the season on the NFI list, which is what he's on right now. Nobody's really sure exactly what's ailing him. There's been so many things that have ailed him over the years that it's tough to know. He had cleanup surgery, but they didn't specify on what. And he hasn't talked to us either. So he's a bit of a question mark. And the only guy who's been – well, there are two guys now out for the season. Levi Onwuzurike was lost for the season before the season started, before practices started with an issue. He injured himself training. So that's a bit of a loss. He came back on a one-year contract, was arguably their best interior pass rusher last year. He didn't get any sacks, but he did wind up getting a lot of pressures. And then they lost their rookie safety, Dan Jackson. He is out for the year. He tore up a knee, I believe it was. This without notes, so I'm trying to remember. He did that in camp, and he is out for the season, which kind of stinks because he probably wasn't going to play much on defense, but he was going to be a big part of special teams. And he's an infectious hitter, and I think that it stinks that he's out. So. I think everybody else I think is healthy. They've been cautious with like Kirby Joseph has missed a few days of camp. Terrion Arnold has, DJ Reed has, but they're all like they all participated today. They all look great. In fact, Kirby Joseph picked off CJ Stroud's first pass of the day today. So he's back. He's good.
How's the rookie from Boise?
Oh yes, Ahmad Hassanin. He is going to be out for a while with a pec injury. It's not a torn pec. He's very upbeat about it. He's probably going to be out. I'm going to guess he's going to start the year on injured reserve and probably come back and it's going to be a little bit.
So what do you got? Two, right? Two IR returns.
Yeah. And we're going to see how they juggle that. Honestly, that's a good question. He was not in line to play much. He was probably going to be a game day inactive. He's got an incredible motor. Fun guy to cover. Egyptian. He is on the International Pathways program, so they can actually let him ride too, and not necessarily have to put him on injured reserve to get him back later in the year because he doesn't count as a roster spot.
That works.
But he was probably going to be a game day inactive anyways. He was the fifth edge for the most part, so it sucks that he's injured. It hurts his developmental curve for sure. But in terms of like on the field as a rookie, he probably wasn't going to do a lot. Now, last year he would have been called upon to do a lot more because everybody got hurt last year. But so far So far, we're doing okay. And then, of course, Maurice Norris, everybody saw that in the Atlanta preseason game. Got the very severe concussion, which ended the game early. By the way, I thought that was awesome how the players, and the Lions and the Falcons decided to end that game. I thought that was the way to do it. He is working with trainers off to the side, trying to progress through the concussion protocol. We don't know what's going to happen with him either, because he's sort of one of those guys that's on the roster bubble. And this hasn't helped his chances of making it. So I don't know. He's a tough one to call. But he is okay, which is great, because it did not look good.
How about the two linemen? Are they still banged up? Miles Frazier and Tristan Colon?
So Colon is going to be out for a bit. He might start the year on injured reserve. He has an elbow injury suffered in, I believe it was that Atlanta game. It might have been the one before that. Yeah. I can't keep that. They played too much.
Would he have made the team?
Probably.
Okay.
He was in line to. He wasn't a lock to make it, but he was doing good. And then Frazier has been out all year. He's been on the PUP since the start of camp. He's another guy that was probably going to be a game day inactive, but make the team as a rookie. And we don't really have a good timeline on him. We've seen him working off to the side. He's been very engaging. Like, he's like, I'm doing good. I'm doing what they need of me. But they're being extra cautious with him because, again, they don't really need him this year. They don't want to rush him at all. But he should be fine long term.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of these interviews, Jeff, and this is the most, just so you know. There's a lot going on here. Let's see.
Yeah.
So, because again, with only a couple of guys that you can bring back, yeah, they're going to have to do some interesting decisions depending on, like you said, who is going to be a valuable contributor. Because right now, I guess we still have on Wuzurike on the pup. So you think that he will? That's just a foregone conclusion that he's.
Yeah, he is out for the year. They've already declared that. So,
and that's and has nothing to do with his back.
No, it doesn't. This was a knee. So in that sense, it's good. Yeah. Look, he has fought through so much. Spinal fusion surgery. He came back from that. Like, that's incredible. So it really sucks to see him go down this year. And look, they signed him to a 1-year prove-it deal, and unfortunately, he got injured. So that's the downside of the business. But hopefully, he can come back healthy. I kind of think that Detroit's patience has run out a little bit with that, but that's just my speculation.
So out of
I root for the guy so much because he's always had a great attitude about like trying to overcome and just doing it. And Greg, we've been around the game a long time. We see this a lot. The longer that I get to know these players and the more I'm around them, the more the injuries really, really suck because you see these guys with their families and you see them on the sidelines at the Senior Bowl. You see them in the stands at a game, and they're talking about like, oh, I got my knee replaced. Well, I got my hip replaced. Like, and they're younger than me.
Yes.
Like I'm not that old. Like it really is hard to see that, man.
And you just hope that the main thing is you hope that they have taken care of their finances, because unfortunately a lot of these situations in the NFL, they don't work out very well. I know we've seen them try it, the NFL, we've at least seen some of the ways that they try to talk to the kids and get them to understand how you got to look for the future and finances. But I think they're doing better at that than it was 15, 20 years ago, but it's still, it could still be better. So out of all of these players that we have on IR, you mentioned Jackson. Are there any more of these out of these current ones? We've got 8 or 7 more. Any of these other players that are?
Yeboah might have made the team as a third tight end. The other guys probably weren't really going to. DiCaprio Bootle, Keaton Sutherland. Like, Keaton Sutherland was barely here. I think he made it through 3 practices. So it sucks for him. Bootle wasn't going to make it. Haran actually played pretty well in the very short time that he was in Detroit. Rakestraw sucks too, because this is a developmental guy, 2nd-round pick in 2024.
Yeah,
has been injured going back to high school. with a lot of different injuries. This was a chest. He had a chest injury on the left side, and the shoulder surgery on the right side is what ended his off season and season. He's out for the year. They have adequately replaced him. Rocky Ya-Sin had clearly outplayed him throughout camp.
Okay.
While Rakestraw was still healthy, so he was going to be the number 4 outside cornerback, and he's not that great on special teams. So that was one of those where he was probably not going to be active on game days, barring injuries above him on the depth chart. So it's not like a big loss in 2025. But again, this is a developmental player that they've invested a lot of time and resources into. Yeah. And they're not going to get anything out of him for basically the second year in a row. And that sucks.
Yeah, that's 2 second-round draft picks in the last 4 years that have just had too many injuries. So, but that's
really 3, because Josh Paschal fits in there too, and Levi Onwuzurike was that as well. It's unfortunate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The negative Nelly Lions fans are quick to point that out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
The second-round picks are getting set on fire a little bit, and it's hard to refute that.
Yeah. Back-to-back division titles still. It's you're talking a lot of years and frustration. It's going to take more than back-to-back division titles to get those negative.
It's called being lionized, and I get it, and I don't fault guys for it. Like, I understand that it's tough to move on from expecting the worst all the time, but
especially after what happened last year when the team was destined to be in the Super Bowl if it wasn't for the injuries.
They were so good.
Yeah.
They're still really good. Spoiler alert, they're still really good.
Yes, they are. They're favored to win the division. So we'll get into that later as well. So, all right. So let's go ahead and talk about the team outside the injuries.
Yeah.
And so on offense, the big offseason move, or again, a negative, was having the all-pro center retire. Yeah, so how's that going? I know Glasgow getting older, didn't necessarily look very good last year. Is that definitely his job? Because I know you talked about Kingsley as someone to keep an eye on, but they're going to give Glasgow the go-ahead. And any word on how he's looked so far?
He has been pretty good. He has gotten a lot better in the last 2 weeks. They did joint practices with the Dolphins last week, and the couple of practices that he had before that, and then into the joint practices against Miami, he looked a lot better than he had been. Now, he did, unfortunately, leave practice today with a lower leg injury. He walked off on his own. I didn't see the injury mechanism itself happen. I did see him laying on the ground and get up on his own. Where fingers are crossed for the best, because he's not the best blocker at this stage in his career, but he's perfectly functional. He's a perfectly capable starting center. He's not the run blocking asset that Frank Ragnow was. Few are, but he's very smart. He makes all the line calls, and he's got 2 new starters on both guards are new starters in the NFL. Yeah, one's a rookie, one's another one, and he's been a very good veteran presence in the middle of that. And his veteran savvy has been very valuable. So hopefully he's fine. If not, Kingsley Aguakun is the number 2. They tried Tate Ratledge at center early on. They decided they like him better at guard this year. And it sounds like that's where he's going to stay, at least for this year. Now, long-term, he might be the starting center in 2026, but for 2025, he is your starting right guard.
Okay. So if Aguakun actually had to play, then that's a really young and inexperienced interior offensive line.
Yeah. And
you think they might?
Kingsley's he's not a power player. And one of the things that I think Frank Ragnow really brought that was great was he could just bull guys in the run game specifically. And that's not what Kingsley Aguakun does. He's pretty adept in pass protection, but you're losing a lot in the run game there. And the Lions do love to run the ball. They set up play action that way. I know there's some people that find that cliched, but that's what they do. And they need a good center, because Jared Goff is a guy who does have to have confidence in the offensive line in front of him. We're seeing that with Glasgow. I don't know if we'd see that same level with Aguakun. Hopefully we don't have to find out. I'm knocking on every wood that's in my room right now.
Do you think that there is a player, because everybody, and we've talked about this even in our interviews earlier this year, about Zadarius Smith. That's a great option. Keep him in the back, and if you need him, you need him. Maybe that's always the plan anyway, and he'll eventually be here. But is there another player, and definitely on offense? Is there a center? Is there backup center just in case? Do you think there's any moves that Detroit might make either in free agency or a trade to get some more depth on the offense?
That's a tough question. I don't see that. That doesn't mean that it's not out there, but I don't really see that being like. I think they are very insular. They like Hank Fraley is one of the best offensive line coaches in the league. He teaches things in a very specific way, and they run a scheme that's not the easiest to pick up on the fly from the outside.
Okay.
So I do think that they would probably either shift Ratledge in there or Eguakun maybe might get the nod. Michael Neese is not out. Like Eguakun has not definitively beat out Michael Neese for the backup center spot. And Cologne could come back. Cologne can play center. So, I mean, they do have some options. None of them are great. That's why we're hoping that Glasgow's going to be fine. Look, he looked a lot better at center than he did at left guard. He's not a left guard. And he made that pretty clear earlier this offseason. Like, he's very happy to be back at center.
Okay.
So, good for him.
Now, if something were to happen to one of the guards, with Frazier now on the outs with the injury, who just steps in?
It's either Coyote Aoshika, who's done it in the past, or Natane Mute, who is still healthy for now. Again, that's another knock-on-wood situation. He's a guy who was going to make the team a year ago, and then he tore his pec. And look, this is a guy going back to his days in college. I believe he went to Fresno State. Yes, he did. You just pulled it up. Thank you for that. That injury history is long. He's a good player when he's healthy. Mauler in the run game, but can you depend on him to stay healthy for a long period of time as a backup? I don't know. Like that's tough. And then Frazier is. I like Frazier's long-term potential, but this year, that's probably where they're at with that.
Okay.
None of the other guys have really stepped up on the inside.
So all of a sudden, I mean, and look, you have an All-Pro that decides to retire, and you're going to lose some. But all of a sudden, it looks like the Lions, especially because of the questionable depth, there's a little bit of a drop off as far as them being one of the dominant offensive lines to being
that's fair.
A good line, could be very good. A lot's going to depend on the youth, but they have to be healthy.
Yes, I'm very well said. I will say Christian Mahogany looks like a dog already. I think Lions fans are going to like him a lot.
Yeah.
He gets after it. He's looked very, very impressive. Better than Glasgow ever did at left guard last year. Okay. So that's a positive. Ratledge looks like he's ready. He's going to be a rookie, second-round rookie out of Georgia. He's pretty good. Like he's ready to start, but again, he's a rookie. He's going to have his lumps. He's going to have a blown play here or there that might hurt the team. That's just the way rookies are. Penei Sewell had some of those when he was a rookie. Now he's all world. That's just life with the rookies. But they're prepared to grow with that, and that guard combination. Talk to me another couple of years, and you could be talking about them as being great. Now, by that point, unfortunately, Taylor Decker's probably gone, and Greg Glasgow's probably gone. So
that is true.
You got to cycle through.
Yes. Okay. So we know they're in great shape at running back. Who is the number 2 quarterback? Is it Kyle Allen?
It sure should be. And Dan Campbell basically said that after the game against Miami. Hooker has, and I know people think I'm crazy. He really has looked better in practices all summer, but every game situation, the lights are just too bright, man.
Wow.
The game's moving too fast for him, and it's frustrating. Now, I will say Kyle Allen has played better than I expected him to. I think better than anybody who saw him in Pittsburgh or wherever else has seen. He had a terrible first 2 drives in the Hall of Fame game that everybody watched, and everybody got super down on him. Since then, he's been fantastic. He's completing passes that Jared Goff likes to throw. He's running the offense. He's getting the ball out. He's savvy. He can move a little bit. There is a lot to like. Look, I have covered in Detroit Tim Boyle. Oh my God, Jake Rudock, Adrian Martinez, a laundry list of crap backup quarterbacks. Kyle Allen's better than all those dudes. That's a low bar, but relatively speaking, I'm pretty happy with Kyle Allen.
Well, and hopefully you won't need him.
Yeah. But it is frustrating that Hooker has not become, because I liked Hendon Hooker a lot coming out of Tennessee. It just, and I don't even want to blame the injury the first year for whatever reason. And he's talked about it. He's like, when I don't think I play well, and he's spot on in the self-assessment there, but he can't turn the brain off. You can literally see him thinking too much in plays, and it costs him. And it's unfortunate because there is talent there, and he's a likable dude, but it's just not happening yet.
Well, it might be one of those situations where, again, if things just went really bad, Goff somehow not around for a while, and Kyle Allen, let's just say, he just wasn't overly impressive for whatever reason. Yeah. And Hooker had a chance to play every week, that might get something going, because the kid definitely has to get out there and play some. Because he's never played in the NFL, basically, in real games that mattered. So, again, not what you hope happens. You don't want to see him. But that would have been a really nice situation, because then the team would feel a lot more comfortable. Oh, yeah, it's okay. We've got a nice little prospect on the bench that we feel really good if something happened, even if we lost Goff for a while. That's okay. Hey, it's your turn, Hooker. Go ahead, go get him. But apparently that's not the case right now. So, okay. Tight ends, another position that looks pretty strong. So there's
Sam Laporta has been phenomenal this summer. He has been
take another step.
Oh yeah, he's humble about it. But this is a man who got blessed by the Pope right after he got married. That's pretty cool. And I think when Goff has needed a completion, he's got a lot of really good targets out there. He has consistently looked to Sam Laporta, and Laporta is always open. And the Lions have some pretty good coverage linebackers and safeties, and he's getting open against them. He annihilates. Miami couldn't do anything to him. Houston, I spent most of my day watching the Houston offense, but I did see a couple of reps where it's working here too. And Houston has a great secondary. Not to jump on that team, but that's a good football team in Houston too.
Yep. By the way, did you notice, and I'm sure I'll get an opportunity to talk to Cole Thompson in the next week or two, but that offensive line at Houston was scary. I mean, that's the one thing they have not done a good job of.
They were better today.
They were.
It was one day. Titus Howard actually had a nice day.
He's okay. Howard's. I don't think Howard's the problem, but they've got those other kids they've drafted in the last couple of years who
they are
not
very high on Ursary. Not to go Texans here, but
I like Ursary. Ursary's a good player.
He merits it. And he's a guy that I have heard verifiably from Lions people. The Lions liked him a lot in the draft. They were really interested in a tackle at the position where he was taken, but their scouts liked him too. And it was fun today to watch a lot of the guys that the Texans drafted were guys that were like, oh yeah, we know the Lions like these guys. So it was kind of cool to get some validation. That's neat. Yeah.
How many tight ends are the Lions going to keep?
They will keep 3. Brock Wright is a very solid, capable number 2. I would say he's one of the better number 2s in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is still up for grabs. It's probably Shane Zylstra, but the undrafted rookie, Zach Horton from Indiana, has a feather in his cap. He can play fullback. Nobody else on the roster can do that, and they do use that on occasion. So how much do they want that in John Morton's offense? I don't know, but he should certainly stick on the practice squad.
Okay.
And the Lions are very liberal in the usage of their practice squad. They absolutely see it as an extension of the 53-man roster. They're not afraid to call guys up, to move guys around, and things like that. So, when you say that a guy's going to the practice squad, a lot of people are like, oh, you're never going to see him again. That's not necessarily the case with Detroit and the way that Dan Campbell treats it.
And the receiver room. So
They're so good. They're so good.
So Jameson's ready to take that next step.
Yes, 100%. 100%. He looks phenomenal. He's matured on and off the field. And then both of those needed to happen, and it's happened. And it's really cool to see.
And Tesla, love it. How have they looked as rookies?
He is threatening to take Tim Patrick's starting job. That's how good he's been. I have the disclaimer. I covered Isaac Tesla in high school. He's local for me.
Yes, that's true.
It's hard for me to be objective on him, but I will say in the draft process, it was very evident that Arkansas had no freaking clue what they had in him, and the experience in Detroit validates that. Arkansas had no idea what he could do. They played him in the slot. He's not a slot. He's an X, and he's doing really good. He's much, much more dynamic as a receiver than anybody really expected. And I'd say that as one of his biggest fans. I didn't think he'd come this far, this fast. He is threatening to make a real dent in the lineup as a rookie. And this is a loaded lineup. Tim Patrick is a solid veteran, had a pretty good camp, came in last year and did a nice job for Detroit. Yeah. But Tesla's really sniffing at his minutes.
Is there a competition between Raymond and Lovett, or are they both going to make the team, you think?
Lovett is definitely on the bubble.
Okay.
And he's like player 52 to 54, somewhere in there.
So he could be a practice squad guy.
He could be. And I don't think he's going to get claimed. Look, when you're a reserve wide receiver on this team, Raymond, by the way, is the kick returner and the punt returner. And he will have those roles.
Okay.
So he's very safe. As a receiver, they are very similar skilled. I think Leaf is a little bit more polished. Obviously, he should be. I think it's his 10th season. Lovett puts some balls on the ground, and he can't do that. The special teams just aren't there yet either. So I feel pretty comfortable that he's going to wind up being on the practice squad. There is a world where he makes the team. There is a world where Ronnie Bell makes the team. He's looked good, but he's looking up at a lot of people. And I will never count out Tom Kennedy. Perennial Lion.
Okay.
He probably shouldn't have any business making the roster, but he's not going to be an easy cut.
So Bell,
I think they will cut him, but he's not going to be an easy cut.
Okay, well, that's good for him. That's a job. Yes. That's what you want to see out of a kid like that if you're a coach. Yeah. So Bell is the only one out of those other new receivers outside of the draft picks that has a chance.
Jackson Meeks has a chance. He's had a great camp and great preseason. He and Kyle Allen have a very nice connection. So he is threatening to make the team. He's another one. I would put him honestly above Lovett, and I think most of my media cohorts would do the same, just based on what we've seen from the two of them. And some of that also is the fact that Meeks has a lot more size, and he has played very well on special teams. And every year they give Dave Phipp, the special teams coordinator, a toy or two, and I can see Meeks being his wide receiver toy this year.
Well, look, this happens all the time in scouting. I was going over the players that the bottom of the scouting, basically over the draft guide that we have for our lads, and taking a look at all the guys towards the end who made it, not on the main part of the page is where you get the scouting reports, but who was still there as this guy didn't make the scouting reports, but he's still a draftable type of player. And I just couldn't believe I couldn't find Jackson Meeks. And I was like, in this entire draft,
he was kind of hidden at Syracuse.
I can't find Jackson Meeks. But again, it shows you that there might have been a few things here or there regarding his athleticism. Maybe he didn't run a good, a 40. Maybe there were a few other things. But the bottom line is the kid put up big numbers last year at Syracuse with McCord throwing the ball. And sometimes you're just a player. It doesn't matter what your combine numbers are. Sometimes you're just a player.
Yeah. So. You can see that with him. They would like to keep him in one form or another, whether it's the active roster or the practice squad. He is a guy that I would worry another team would claim. Like we had the Miami Dolphins in last week. They don't have any depth anywhere, but they would certainly have some interest in him, I would think.
Yeah. And again, we just talked about it with the Lions, whether or not there might be some sort of hey, you trade a position of strength for a position of weakness. So
you send a player and a 7th rounder for a 6th rounder. That seems to be what's going on around these days. There's been like 3 or 4 of those in the last couple of days.
Yes.
Lions could absolutely do that with one of these guys. I don't know who it would be, but that certainly makes some sense.
Before we switch over to defense, a little shout out for you. A big gout shout out. You know Ben Diesel?
I do. My prior bouts with gout are legendary in the Detroit Lions podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not positive, but
it's all good. I take pills for that now. I'm good.
That's cool. All right, moving on to defense. And we talked about Hutchinson and McNeil up front. But Marcus Davenport, speaking of a player that needs to take the next step, how's it going for Marcus Davenport?
He looks outstanding.
Really?
He is exactly what they want across from Aiden Hutchinson. He has such a high football IQ, and he is powerful. He gets off blocks extraordinarily well. One of the things that I love watching him do, he never abandons backside run contain. And if you try to cut back or bounce it back, you're on the ground.
Okay.
He's great at that. He's been getting a pretty good pass rush. I won't say that he's like lightning quick or anything. He's very effective. And they were, before he got hurt last year, and he did unfortunately get hurt early, they were the number 1 defense in football. And then he got hurt, and then Anzalone got hurt, and Derek Barnes got hurt.
Yeah.
Everybody else got hurt. Hutchinson got hurt. That all happened in like a 3-week period. And then the bottom sort of fell out, unfortunately, as you would expect. But far,
bad memories.
Marcus Davenport looks really good, and he is getting some chemistry with the guys inside, with Reeder and with Tyleik Williams. He and Hutch can both flip sides. They can both go inside. We have seen Davenport reduce down inside some, and his length on the inside is an issue. Man, if he can play 14 games, this defense is going to be really, really good.
That's the key, is him staying healthy.
Exactly. And you just last year's injury was a bit of a fluke one. Like there are a lot of Lions fans who will tell you that it was a dirty play that he got hurt on. His arm kind of got trapped and the guy kind of snapped down on it. And that's
okay. That nice.
Ended him. But with his injury history, he doesn't really get the benefit of the doubt. And honestly, he probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
He has done everything that they want from him so far.
Okay. Good signs. Positive.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. That's what you need out of that player. No question.
Yeah.
We mentioned Zadarius Smith as a potential signing at some point. But let's say he's still out of the picture.
Yeah. And I that talk has, from inside the building, you don't hear that at all. And some of it is it sounds like when Brad Holmes talked about him on a radio interview about a month ago, and without saying it, he said that Zadarius wants too much. And that's, I don't know. And the other flip side of that is they do like what they have in Al-Qadim Muhammad, who has played pretty well and did a pretty good job last year. He has, Dan Campbell talked about this the other day in his press conference when talking about Al-Qadim. His run defense has stepped up. He has figured out how to set an edge a little bit. He's bounced around a lot. He had some off-field issues earlier in his career. You see it there with the Colts. So far, he's been fine in Detroit. You wouldn't know that he's got that history with him. I remember him playing at Miami. I remember him being down at the Shrine Bowl back in the day. I'm like, this guy can play. And we have seen, if he's your number 3, you're probably all right at edge. If he's your number 2, you probably need some help.
Yeah.
But he's had a strong summer.
Okay, so and then the other couple of players we talked about that are banged up is the next guy. I mean, you had at one point talked about the possibility of Nate Lynn making a move. Is there anybody else out there that could be a valuable contributor?
So Keith Cooper, the undrafted rookie from Houston, has taken first-team reps. Lynn started out camp fantastic. He's sort of cooled off. I don't want to say that he's played poorly, but it feels like Keith Cooper is making this team. He had first-team reps today.
On the edge?
Yes.
Okay.
And inside. He's a very similar style of player to how they used John Kaminsky in the past, to how they used Josh Paschal, to how they used Levi Onwuzurike, as a heavier end who can reduce inside and win with quickness on the inside. He's been a revelation. He's been very good. Really, really solid player. I would be very surprised if he doesn't make this team. And now, the complicating factor is that they activated Mekhi Wingo this week off the PUP, and he's not ready yet. Dan Campbell said as much today. He participated in just like positional drills. He didn't play any team. Doesn't sound like they have any intent of playing him in the final preseason game. Okay. So what happens with that? I don't know, because that's carrying a lot of dudes.
Yes, looking at them all right here.
So. Yeah, so I don't know how they manage that because Pat O'Connor's making this. Pat O'Connor has played very well. Now, because he's a vested veteran, he might be one of those guys where they're like, hey, we're going to cut you, but we're going to guarantee your contract on the practice squad, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And they did that. They did it with he came from Tennessee, defensive line, Kyle Pecco last year. They did that. And I can see that happening with Pat O'Connor again. But O'Connor has also played first-team reps. He's another guy that can play anywhere from 3 to 7 technique, which is what Cooper can do, what Paschal can do. So they have a type there, and they are playing more 4-man, 5-man lines with your Sam and your edge sort of flexing on that under Kelvin Shepard. That we've seen more 5-man lines, we've seen more overload lines than what we saw under Aaron Glenn. So they like that versatility a lot. And again, Hutchinson and Davenport can play inside, not Hutch so much, but and O'Connor fits in very well with that. Okay. I think he's at 296 right now, so he's had some good moments too. So there's a logjam there. There, like Mitchell Agude is probably going to get cut. That's a good football player. Isaac Ukwu, good football player. Like they've got some talent there. There's some young guys. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep all those guys on the practice squad either. And I do feel like those guys should get opportunities somewhere if not making it in Detroit. I can see them being like getting other offers from other teams to get on their practice squad and maybe play their way up, with a better chance. But again, with the injury history that all these Lions have,
yes,
it makes projecting this position incredibly hard this year.
Yes,
is what it does.
Especially with 3 guys currently banged up. And then you got to make these decisions. So, it will be very interesting to see exactly how they juggle this roster in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so by the way, Tylik Williams, how's he looking as a rookie?
He's good. He is a rookie. It shows when he and DJ Reader are the defensive tackle combination, you do not run inside, period. David Montgomery can't get in any room. Jahmyr Gibbs can't get any room. Like, they stop it. The pass rush is kind of hit and miss with Tylik. Remember, he didn't really rush the passer at Ohio State after his freshman year. So he's still, like, getting the timing and the little intricacies of his moves down. there are times where it works and he gets some wins. And he and Tate Ratledge go up against each other a lot. And you can see, rookie helping rookie. They've got a nice little bond going. I think he's going to be a very good player. You're probably not looking at a guy who's going to get a great deal of sacks, but he's going to play well. He can definitely fill the hole left by Aleem McNeil. Probably not as dynamic of a pass rusher, but as far as run defense goes, I feel bad for teams that are going to try to run the ball up the middle all the time against this team. Not that many teams do that, but like if you're trying to ground and pound, good luck.
Then taking a look at the linebacker position, you talked about Rodriguez. They added a couple of free agents in Stewart, who's a special teams guy, and Cunningham, vet. But those starters, that's a good 3 linebackers, and Jack Campbell keeps getting better too.
He does. He's looked good. He actually didn't have a very good day today, but overall his summer has been phenomenal. Alex Anzalone had a little squabble at the beginning of camp. He's good. Had a hamstring too. He actually had the best practice. He's been in Detroit. This is his 5th season. Today was the best practice I've ever seen from him. The joint practices against the Texans. He was probably the Lions' best defensive player. He's a leader. He's still got a lot of range. He is definitely their best cover linebacker. And Derek Barnes plays a Sam. He can rush the passer. Probably don't want him in coverage a lot, but he's a very good edge run defender. If you try bubble screens, which Miami did a lot of, it's not going to go well. It's just really not. So, he's healthy again. He looks fine. He's a smart guy. One of the things that you notice, all the guys on the Lions, like to a man, these are smart dudes. Like you can tell when they recruit players out of college.
Yeah,
they're not interested in guys that didn't go to class.
Let's get the smart, tough guys.
Yes, exactly. And Steward's a bit of a guesser in the run gap, but man, if he finds the right gap, he's gonna bring the pain.
Yeah,
and he doubles as a kickoff returner, and it's fun. It's crazy. He's going to learn to hold on to the ball because he fumbled the opening kickoff in the Hall of Fame game. He also fumbled one today, where Dare Ogunbowale got him pretty good. But he's a riot to cover, and he's humble about it, but. He did get 19 tackles in a game starting for the Colts last year, and you see how he did it.
Yeah.
He's doing good, and Cunningham has been a nice revelation. Probably don't want him a lot in coverage either, but he shows you why he led the NFL in tackles in, I think it was 2021. He had the most tackles in the NFL over a 3-year period. He's not going to get you a lot of fumbles. He's not going to blitz very well. He's not going to cover super well, but he will tackle. And if he's your number 5 linebacker, and that's where he is, you're in pretty good shape.
Sure. Okay. And then in the second, by the way, if Rodriguez, and again, we don't know the status, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we know Stewart will make the team.
He's mid-season at least. Actually, Dan Campbell did say it's probably November for him at the earliest. So.
November. Okay.
Yeah.
So then that means we know there's Stewart and Cunningham. Who else? Is there a battle on the roster there at linebacker to make the team?
Trevor Nowatzki should have that job. He's sort of been Derek Barnes' understudy at the Sam. He's been pretty good on special teams. Anthony Pittman, this is his 7th season in Detroit. Wow. He did have a year in Jacksonville. Even last year with all the injuries, he didn't play on defense. I think that tells you what you need to know about his, good dude, pretty good special teams player, but at some point you've got to show something on defense.
Yeah, like Stewart did.
Yeah, and Stewart's done that. I think Nowatzki has done that. Actually, Ezekiel Turner has not had a bad camp. I don't think he has a chance of making the team, but he's acquitted himself. He did not have a good go of it in emergency duty a year ago, to be kind. He has shown that he's better than that, but probably a practice squad here or somewhere else.
Okay. And then the secondary. So how is it looking as a whole? We saw the injuries last year. You mentioned Rock Ya-Sin, and so that's it's nice that he's in and you take care of that spot. I know Kennelly's a guy that you've also followed, the local kid, CFA. Yes.
Yeah, local guy for me from Grand Valley State University, which is just up the road. Very good athlete. He's a D1 caliber athlete. He's actually a much better athlete than Dan Jackson was. Probably the best athlete at safety on the entire roster. Doesn't always play to it, but that's a promising young man. And he is certainly on the roster bubble as well.
Okay.
He and Lawrence Strickland appear to be battling for the same spot, and they play safety completely opposite. Strickland is a box safety, downhill train tracks player, but man, if you're on his train tracks, it's not going to end well for you.
Okay.
But he's not a guy that can turn and run. Doesn't have great coverage instincts, but is a very good blitzer out of the slot and pretty smart and pretty good special teams player. So that's a roster position. Now it's gummy though, because Brian Branch can play any spot in the secondary. Amik Robertson plays outside. He plays the slot. Maddox plays safety primarily, but he can play in the slot. They have tried him outside. Eric Hallett, the same way. He's been at outside corner. He has been at free safety and had a good summer by and large. And Ya-Sin has moved to safety in the last couple of weeks and has been great. When Kirby Joseph sat out today in practice and he's been out for a couple of days, Ya-Sin was taking the first team safety reps back there and looked like he belonged.
Okay.
So they've got a lot of moving, like guys with positional overlap that can do a lot of different things, which is kind of cool. But it also makes it tough to predict because the guys who don't have that, like actually Terry Arnold can play in the slot too. They don't really use him. He's my fingers are crossed. I think he's going to have a nice step into his second season. He had a lot of penalties early in his rookie year and then got himself together. He's a very confident young man, very instinctive. Still gets a little jumpy from time to time, but look, I think he's following the Darius Slay plan when Darius was in Detroit. A lot of fans don't remember this. He got benched as a rookie because he was awful. He deserved it, and he said that he deserved it. Came back in the second year and got pretty good, and then third and fourth year he became, big play Slay, which he still is. Nothing but love for Darius Slay. I think Darian Arnold's on that path, and DJ Reed's looked great. Carlton Davis was very good in Detroit, and we'll speak zero ill about Carlton Davis. DJ Reed's better than him, and cheaper too. So good find.
Yes,
good player. You know him from the Jets.
I know him. Yes, know him.
Very unsung player.
Yep, absolutely. And does he right now this year, week one, is he considered the number one corner, or is Arnold considered the number one corner?
I would say DJ is.
Okay.
Terrion might dispute that, and I would welcome that from him.
Okay. But Arnold's the guy.
That's the kind of guy he is.
Well, that's what you want out of a corner.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but Arnold's definitely the guy that the Lions are hoping within a couple of years. He's our shutdown number one guy.
Yeah. Okay. And the potential is certainly there. And he's shown it at times too.
So give me a guess then on who you think will make the team out of the secondary.
So this is another one. They activated Khalil Dorsey this week.
Oh, okay.
Don't know what to do with that information because he's better on special teams than he is on defense, but he's not incapable as a reserve corner either. But he also only plays corner, just like Strickland only plays safety, only plays box safety. Kennelly can kind of play both safety spots, but he's much more of a free safety. So where that flex goes, I don't know, man.
What about Tyson Russell?
He's going to be a practice squad guy.
Okay.
He is a phenomenal open field tackler and run defender. Coverage kind of comes and goes, but there's something to work with there.
Okay.
Good young man. I found out and got to talk to Tyson about this. His youth football coach was one of my best friends in elementary school.
Love those connections.
I do.
Yes.
He loved it too. I told him that, and I told him, hey, Coach Scott says hi. He's like, his face lit up that I knew this guy. Like, yeah, I was quarterback back in the day, and
that's it.
Yeah,
keep him going.
I'm rooting for Tyson to stick on the practice squad. I think the Lions like him. Not the fastest guy, but good player, good head on his shoulders.
All right, and then special teams. You mentioned Raymond's
good, man. Raymond will be one of the kick returners. The other one could be Grant Stewart, could be Craig Reynolds, could be Tom Kennedy.
Grant Stewart.
Who knows? Again, you cannot kill Tom Kennedy. He will stick on the practice squad, and they will elevate him just to be a kick returner or a punt returner. They will do that.
And Bates is looking fine.
Yes, he had one really bad day in camp, and other than that, he's been very good. Jack Fox is still one of the best punters in the league. Hogan Hatton, I've seen one bad snap from him in 2 summers. Great long snapper. Good dude, too. Fits the grit culture very well for a long snapper. Long snappers can be eccentric at times. He's not that. He's a dude.
It's like one of those positions that's sort of like kicker and punter that you just feel like, hey, if I'm not the greatest athlete in the world, but I really love playing football, man, if I could just perfect being a long snapper, I can have a nice career in the NFL.
Yeah. So. We still have Don Muehlbach on the coaching staff, who was the long snapper for, I believe, 18 seasons.
Yeah, see? If you're good and you don't make mistakes, because they're cheap, so you just keep bringing them back, and there you go. Okay, so give me a breakout player this year. Give me a breakout player on offense and defense that's going to take the next step. It's got to be a holdover on the team from last year.
Yeah, so offense, I would say probably Christian Mahogany. I think he got a cup of coffee at the end of the year. I think he's very ready to start at left guard, and I think he's going to be a good one.
Okay.
He can be as good as Jonah Jackson ever was in Detroit right away. And Jonah's a pretty good player. Has been. Kind of comes and goes. But defense. Yeah. Defense. I would love to say Davenport.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I really would. And I do think that if he plays 14 games or more, his defense is going to be top 3. Just because their starting 11 is so good. The smarter play is probably to go with Terrion Arnold. But Derek Barnes coming back. Look, the new defensive coordinator is Kelvin Shepard, who is a ridiculously smart but somewhat physically limited linebacker in his playing days. And that's kind of where Derek Barnes is at. And nobody knows how to use that better than Kelvin Shepard, who I think is going to be an asset right away. And again, no disrespect at all to Aaron Glenn, because I thought he did a fantastic job in Detroit. And I think he's going to be a very good head coach for the New York Jets. But Kelvin's got an eye for the players that they've got. I think that's a little bit more personalized than what AG had in Detroit. And Barnes specifically is one of those guys. I think he's got a chance to have a really good year.